the way the government is acting when it comes to security situation is quite disgusting, I must say. It shows that Nigerian lives does not matter. That's just what I can say. Because if Nigerian lives matter, we cannot still be debating on this thing. Remember, it was even President Trump who woke them up to know that there is insecurity in Nigeria. Because it has become normal. When 200 people are killed in one night, it's normal. They just see it as news and everybody moves on. They see videos of 200 caskets or people are being buried in mass grave because of the slaughter from terrorist group, from bandits, from herdsmen. So it's not normal. People live with it as a normal kind of lifestyle. Over how many people were kidnapped? 412 or thereabout from Borno by Boko Haram, where they are giving government ultimatum. Government has not responded. We have not had anything from government. We have not seen any effort to get those people back, but they are standing with UAE. There's nothing wrong standing with UAE, but they always say that charity begins at home, right? So you already have problem worse than the one UAE even had. You have not even done anything on your own, but you are nosediving into another country. Hello, my people. Welcome to my channel. This is Adi Media TV. A few days ago, there were a series of allegations, coming from the United States. Some officials of the government of the United States have, levied a lot of accusations, against the Nigerian government and some officials of the government. First among them is Senator Ted Cruz, who, everybody known as being a vocal advocate on this issue of Christian persecution in Nigeria. Which led to the President of the United States to, step up and request the Nigerian government to do the needful to stop the genocide on Christians, or else the United States will, step up and be able to do what they cannot do. So, some senator has also, mentioned it in one of the videos I watched, that the Nigerian government is complicit, to the issues of, killing of Christians in Nigeria. However, if I may put it differently, maybe looking at their complicity in insecurity in the country, and this has been on the media for quite a long time now. You recall even the terrorist apologist Sheyi Gumi has also come out to say that the government knows the terrorists, they have their contacts, they know their location. So the point is Ted Cruz saying that the Nigerian government is complicit with all of this. And one of the ways they are doing that is, most of the northern states implementing sharia laws, laws that, affect other people that are not in the Muslim faith and all of that. So when you look at so many things that is happening, you begin to understand the fact that whatever the senator is saying, he's not just saying it because he want to say it or because he want to indict the government, but because from the actions of the government, you can be able to put one and two together. Because it's quite ridiculous how insecurity has beginning to become a nightmare, in the country. People can't sleep with their two eyes closed. People are kidnapped at will, even in their own homes. I was watching a video the other day. They even came to the person's house to kidnap the person from his home. That's how bad the situation has become. And you go to Kwara State, most of the communities where these guys attack all the time, they have deserted their communities. You go to Benue State, most of them are in the IDP camps. Is it Borno we are talking about and all of that? So we're not saying that the insecurity issue started with this government. No, it has been there, but it's getting worse since this government took over. Even during Buhari's time, we had a series of headers farmers clashes. That was what reigned mostly at that time. The other areas, the kidnapping or terrorism and all of that, wasn't as bad as it is today. But now there are so many new dimensions. However, the herdsmen, farmers clashes are subsided in this administration, but there are so many new dimensions that now came up, which is making it to get worse by the day. If you cannot be in your own house peacefully, rest in your house and sleep with your two eyes closed, then there is a bigger problem. That is the issue. So the senator flagging this thing is kind of trying to allow the government that the United States is not sleeping, based on the promise they made that if the Nigerian government is not handling this thing the way they should, that the United States will step up. And before you know what is happening now, another attention is going to shift to the country. So as a sovereign nation that Nigeria has always claimed to be, deal with your problems. If you don't deal with your problems, that's when other people come say, it's just like marriage. When the couples, the husband and the wife cannot solve their problem, that's when they begin to bring in father-in-law, mother-in-law, uncles and aunties and church members, pastors and all of that. Because they cannot solve their problem. That's why other people are now coming in to help them solve their problem. That's exactly what is going on in Nigeria today. So we are not seeing, that concerted effort from the government in addressing this scourge because um, we see series of how these guys attack military formations, cut away weapons, kill soldiers, and stuff like that. But I watched a video a few days ago from the English Alhaji, who has always been reporting issues on security. And the video was celebration how, the Nigerian army was able to decimate the terrorist group, which is a kudos, to the Nigerian army. But along the line, I think the government need to do more in terms of addressing this problem because we need to take the fight to these guys. If you are waiting for them to attack, for you to repel, then they will be at the upper hand. You don't be in the defensive, you should be at the offensive. Take the attack to them. Attack them where they are, squarely. So, anyways, as we are speaking about what Ted Cruz is saying, indicting the government or allegedly saying that the government is complicit to, whatever is happening in terms of security situation, Boko Haram was said to have taken over 400 and something people in Borno, and they are giving the federal government ultimatum, 72 hours ultimatum, for them to, honor their request, or else they're gonna take the kidnapped victims to location that government will never find them again. And you see, the fact is that most of this kidnapping they do, like the Chibok girls, at that time, some of them came back, some didn't. Where do you think most of these girls end up, or those kidnapped victims? Most of them are sold off to different countries. Yes, either for sex slave or whatever it may be. They traffic these kids. That's how they raise funding as well, to fight or prosecute whatever agenda, they are trying to achieve in the country. So when they are telling the government that after 72 hours, if they don't honor their request, and one of the papers I read was saying the request was about 5 billion naira, is it about $3.2 million? Was that about 5 billion? Some papers said they didn't mention the request. So how did they pass the request across to the government that they didn't mention it in the video that they shared? I don't know, but they made it clear that they're going to take those kidnapped victims to the location that government will never find them again. And they also welcome the government to, if they want to come and rescue the girls by force, that they are waiting for them, they are ready for them, and all of that. So imagine when a terrorist group is talking to government in this manner, which means there is a connection between them and the government. Because if the government have marked that line that they are the enemies of the state, and they deal with them like a state government, like a government will deal with a terrorist group, they won't have the audacity to be giving government ultimatum, 72 hours ultimatum to, release the victim. Like America, we always tell you that they don't negotiate with terrorists. It's two ways. It's either you release the kids or they hit you hard and get rid of you. Don't forget that some years back when an American citizen was kidnapped in one of the northern states, I think in Sokoto State at that time, just one person. They sent SEAL team, is it SEAL team or Marine, about six men to come and rescue the person. And they came, killed the terrorist group, that kidnapped their citizens. And they rescued their citizen alive and took him back home. So that is how they value their citizens. That is how the life of an American matters, to the government. But in our case, it's a different ball game altogether. All right. So, well, we'll look into all these things now, because there's another video coming from another, congresswoman, in America, in Florida, and then we'll be able to wrap up this video. So, guys, if you are new to this channel, please kindly like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel and put on your notification bell so that when my next new video drop, you'll be among those that will be notified. All right. So let's look at these things critically. Now I'm gonna play you the videos, side by side, Ted Cruz and the congresswoman, Kimberly Daniels, from, Florida, what he was saying, accusing the Minister of State, of Defense, former governor of Zamfara State, Matawale, of trying to bribe, his way through based on what is going on in the security sector. So she was like, screaming and saying that this is so ridiculous how, the Minister of State for Defense is trying to, bribe his way up and all of that. So I don't know exactly what it did, but I know the video is about 15 minutes video. That's the video that she did. But this is just a kind of a sniper from it, just to, show you how disgusting she felt, when this whole thing was playing out. But you recall that there are a lot of issues surrounding the Minister of State for Defense, right from when he was governor, his affiliation with terrorism, with these bandits and all of that. There are a lot of accusations, even from the governor that took over after him, Daud Lawal, and all of that. So we will see. Let's watch the video first, and then we'll be right back and then wrap up, on this. Don't go away.
A new video from U.S. Senator Ted Cruz in which he claims that Nigerian officials at the highest levels are complicit in facilitating the mass killing of Christians in the country. Now, the senator making these claims on Tuesday during a Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee hearing on the U.S. counterterrorism strategy in Africa, with Cruz stating that Nigeria's promises to do more on insecurity have not been kept. Let's watch.
Nigerian officials have been, unfortunately, complicit in facilitating these atrocities. At the state level, a dozen Nigerian states implement Islamist blasphemy and sharia laws. At the federal level, the government looks the other way at Islamist violence. I'm sorry to say that Nigerian officials are, at a minimum, in denial of the government's role.
Kimberly Daniels. She's a U.S. legislator from the Florida House of Representatives, coming straight for Nigeria's Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, in which she makes a shocking allegation that Matawalle actually attempted to bribe a U.S. official. Why? The United World Congress of Diplomats, an international organization, put out a report calling out Matawalle and his alleged proximity to terrorists here in Nigeria. Well, in a 15-minute Facebook Live posted to her official account, Daniels claims that Matawalle tried to make it all go away with money. Let's watch.
Because I can see the kind of person you are that will come and ask an elected official that you never met before to do a flyer with you and him on it, and he don't know you. What are you hiding, sir? This is, I feel like is this a movie? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Is this for real? So I had to come on Facebook because this is one, it's so much stuff people have done to me, and I'm quiet, and I'm not going to be quiet about this. But to create a fake flyer of endorsement with your picture and another state representative, and then to create a letter praising yourself and to tell that man you will give him any amount of money to publish it and you don't even know him, sir, that is not incompetence. That is crookedness.
Now, that video was taken down from her Facebook page, and Matawalle has yet to officially respond to her. But the context of this is that Daniels has also previously called on President Tinubu to remove him from his role over her allegations that he was complicit in some way in a number of attacks across the country. Rufai, these are allegations, but they're strong allegations. And what do you make of it?
I think there should be investigation into those allegations. But I want to speak to facts. To give you empirical facts. When Governor Dauda and Governor Matawalle were fighting, there were some accusations made by Governor Dauda. Let me read some of them to you. Dauda Lawal alleged that Matawalle, as serving governor, facilitated the presence of bandits within government house. The governor claimed that vehicles meant for official purposes were used to support bandits. Lawal stated that ransom payments for kidnapped victims were processed through the government house during Matawalle's tenure, and he called for resignation. Matawalle replied by consistently denying these allegations and saying they were baseless. He has challenged Governor Lawal to swear with the Holy Quran to prove his innocence regarding the connection to insecurity. Before this video, I would have thought that a government that wants to fight insecurity, when these allegations were made, would investigate. Till today, did we investigate? I don't think so. But for good measure, Governor Dauda Lawal is in the APC now. All right, he's moved to the APC. So, if we have some of this startling evidence on ground before now, as regards Matawalle, when are we going to investigate these things? As we also investigate all of these things this woman has said. Before now, he has denied most of the claims. In fact, in an interview, he said he's ready to swear with the Quran. He said he didn't do anything of such. But the question I just want to ask is, who has investigated these allegations against a Minister of State for Defense? I think that's the question I'm throwing back to the state and to the public today.
All right. Welcome back. So you saw what Ted Cruz said in the video about government being complicit in the issue of insecurity in the country, especially this, Christian genocide, as the U.S. has, packaged it to be. And then you had the female Congresswoman, all right, Kimberly Daniels, also, making her own allegation that the Minister of State is kind of involved in trying to bribe his way, and all of that. So Well, we don't know, but that's what she said. You heard what she was saying in the video. The original video is about 15 minutes long or thereabout. So the fact is that there are so many things I need to pick up from these issues. Number one is that the way the government is acting when it comes to security situation is quite disgusting. I must say, it shows that Nigerian lives does not matter. That's just what I can see. Because if Nigerian lives matter, we cannot still be debating on this thing. Remember, it was even President Trump who woke them up to know that there is insecurity in Nigeria. Because it has become normal. When 200 people are killed in one night, it's normal. They just see it as news and everybody moves on. They see videos of 200 caskets or people are being buried in mass grave because of the slaughter from terrorist group, from bandits, from herdsmen. So it's not normal. People live with it as a normal kind of lifestyle. So until the U.S. president, tweeted, the other time and begin to ginger the government to do what they're supposed to do, or else the U.S. will, intervene and all of that. So it was then that probably they began to wake up, but their waking up was to even kind of push the agenda that there's no Christian genocide. They wasted a lot of money trying to wash off what the US is saying. So after they wasted all those monies and time, then they began to kind of wake up and trying to see if they can do something. But it's quite late, when you don't start early to tackle a problem. It raises its roots, creates branches, and that problem stays and become worse. That's the situation we find ourselves today. So the government, for me, is not doing much in terms of addressing, the insecurity problem that we have. People are kidnapped on a daily basis, even from their homes. So these are no more news. So, but what is the government doing? That is the main thing we want to see. Now, a few days back, you saw even the food, they are, serving the military officers, people who are on the front line, trying to deal with this insecurity problem. The army, the navy, and the rest of them. You saw the kind of food somebody was, posting, sharing what they feed these people. That's that's the kind of food you just eat, go to battle, you are killed. Because it's so ridiculous. And if you know the billions budgeted for the security sector, and you see what they are feeding the people during the battle, the same way they give them, what do you call it, their allowance for being in the field, same problem. If either they delay paying them or they cut it down. And remember some of the deserted army guys, you see what they say, they share their experience, what goes on within the army rank and file. So all these things are there. So the corruption in the system is so endemic that even any little effort I even make it will be like putting water in the basket. It is what it is. But the government itself, over how many people were kidnapped? 412 or thereabout from Borno by Boko Haram, where they are giving government ultimatum. And what is the government doing? They are sending tweets to UAE, United Arab Emirates, that they are standing with them for the issue, this Iran issue that at times Iran will strike missile and all of that. So they have not commented on the over 400 people that were taken in Borno, that they are giving them 72 ultimatum to respond to their request, or they will no more see those people forever. Government has not responded. We have not had anything from government. We have not seen any effort to get those people back, but they are standing with UAE. There's nothing wrong standing with UAE, but they always say that charity begins at home, right? So you already have problem worse than the one UAE even had. You have not even done anything on your own, but you are nosediving into another country to tell them that you are supporting them, you are standing with them against, the attack coming on their infrastructure and what have you. So when you look at that, they are not a serious, government. Government is not serious. So when you hear Ted Cruz saying they're complicit in this thing, these are part of the actions. When they look at the actions of the government, they begin to draw some conclusion. So most of the time, when you hear people talk bad about the government, it's based on what the government is doing. If they are taking the right steps, taking the right actions, people will not come out and be, saying a whole lot of stuff against them. Now, when you look at the issue of the tweet of the president to the UAE, go to his handle, you see how people are bashing him left, right, and center. They are bashing him because people were kidnapped in Nigeria. You have not done anything. You have not rescued any of them, but you are, standing with another person whose infrastructure or was destroyed and something like that. So I don't know. They don't care about the people they claim to govern. And they are talking about coming back in 2027. I don't know who they want to govern. Let's assume they don't meet the need or the request of the Boko Haram, who took 400 and something people. And they did not rescue those 400 and something people. And they fulfill their threat of taking them to a location government will no more find them. For example, obviously, they will traffic them, send them off. to different countries of the world. So when that happened, so 400 and something who supposed to vote are out, right? Let's say after a week, they kidnap another 500. By the time they kidnap like that before the 2027 election, how many people will remain to even do the voting or even be the electoral umpire and the rest of that? So these are the point we are making. What is government doing to rescue these people? So the question is even how do they even have access to kidnap that large number and move them, march them to the forest? How? That is the question. So government effort is not commensurate to the problem that we have insecurity-wise. Now you look at where you have Minister of State who has kind of failed a lot of integrity tests in terms of his position with these bandits. When he was governor, even the current governor now, who was in PDP before he joined the APC recently, was there. I watched him severally on TV saying a whole lot of stuff. I remember it is the same Minister of State Defense that was accused of taking about, is it 40-something cars, vehicles, when he was leaving the government house. I think the matter, went to court or something like that. So he's the same person. And when he was governor, Zamfara was one of the hub of insecurity after Borno at that time during his tenure as governor. There was allegation even for bandits saying that he gives them bike and all of this. So a lot of things happened during his time when it comes to insecurity. The Jengebe school girls was under his watch, where the terrorists said they paid them 60 million to release the girls. So that when they need money, they go to school children because they know it will bring dent to the government. So the government will act fast to be able to rescue them. So they will plead to their demand. So they know what they are doing. They go for women and children, basically. This is what will bring bad image to the government. So the government will be able to act fast. At that time, they said if the government, renege in the agreement with them in terms of not to hit them hard, not to attack them and all of that, the day they attack any of their group, they will angrily go to schools to kidnap school children. That's what they do in retaliation, so that they will teach government a lesson, bring bad publicity to them within that period. So when you look at this, you see there is hobnobbing between the government and these bandits. So if government agreed, to their terms, not to attack them, not to stress them, they will be just kidnapping normal travelers and all this and getting ransom, and everybody is fine. So that's why those who are government don't care. Where government care is when they kidnap school children. That's why you see government come out going to negotiate and all of that. So it's there. So if there's allegation that the Minister of State Defense, somebody who's supposed to protect the integrity of the country, has bribe allegation issues, what is the government supposed to do? Government is supposed to set up investigation, find out all these allegations, how true are them, and all of that. The current governor brought his own allegation when he took over. How payments were made from the coffers of government to terrorists and all of that. You had it in the video, right? Then, after that, this woman from Florida now, the congresswoman from Florida, Kimberly Daniel, has also brought her own up. So even the bandits themselves have also said something. The question is, who did the investigation? What is the outcome of the investigation? You can't just witch away what people are saying. You need to investigate it, find out the true position. If what the allegation is saying is false, then you provide the report, and everybody will be clear that, okay, that's not what it is. This is what the situation truly is. But if the allegation is true, you get rid of the person, prosecute the person, and put him where he should be. That's the way things work. And the man has been silent, staying there in that position. He served as governor for 8 years. He's Minister of State for Defense 3 years now. So you see that they don't leave power. They remain in power, grab it, hold it, die with it. That's what they do. So I pray that the government investigate all these allegations, coming out from the congresswoman. All right, she was even advocating that the man be removed, that he's not competent to be there. If somebody who served as governor for 8 years and cannot secure his state, at least do something. We know that the way the constitution is, security, issues lie with the president. But being the chief security officer of the state, even if you can't command the police, the army, and all of that, there may be things you'll be doing in partnership with the federal government to calm your state down. Many people have done it before, So, but we did see that they mine gold in Zamfara, sell it, they do all kinds of, stuff in Zamfara. And at that time, he did nothing. Insecurity was worse in Zamfara state. That's where Bello Tuji and the rest of them are operating from. So these are the issues. And you now put the person to become Minister of State for Defense. Somebody who cannot defend the state is now the one who will defend the whole nation. So you can see where appointment issues are coming from. Government don't just appoint people because they have the capacity. They appoint people because they are part of their political team who help them during campaign. That is how they appoint people. Not by competence, not by character, not by what the person can offer. There's nothing like that. So it's quite painful, seeing what is going on. So I don't know how these over 400 people kidnapped by Boko Haram will come back, because for government, I don't see any effort they are making to bring them back. They will just traffic those, women and children. They will traffic them, sell them off, and take the money and use it to fund their operations. That's what it is, and that will be very, very unfortunate if the government, do not, get them back. So it's either they pay the money, or they forcefully go in there and get the keys. But we have not seen government at any time they kidnap anybody, they forcefully go there to get them. We always hear them say they call the bandits, and then the bandits release them, just like that. We soon hear that they have called the bandit and the bandits release them. So that's how that's the kind of situation we find ourselves in. So I don't know, but it's not looking good at all. So you see how people say, "Oh, Nigeria is a sovereign nation." I don't understand. A sovereign nation that cannot protect itself, that cannot do the needful, that cannot do the right things for their nation to grow. That is the problem. So I don't know, but it's quite sad. It's quite unfortunate, hearing this even globally now. The Minister of State for Defense is now on the radar for bribery. I mean, I don't know. You remember even when the President Trump's tweet, gingering them to stop Christian genocide, or America will, come in and do something. Remember that period? What did the government do? They rather spend $9 million to hire a propagandist, right? An image cleaner who will be working for them in New York to clean their image. When you look at a serious government, you should begin to understand that a serious government should be doing the needful, do what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do them. That's what makes a government serious. So you can see how the game is playing up now, that every politician is now focusing on 2027, including the current president. So what they are thinking now is how to get back in 2027, how to grab it, snatch it, and run with it. Nobody cares about who they kidnap or whatever Boko Haram is saying. To them, they can sell them off. After all, it's not their children, so they don't care. So we are waiting. I think 72 hours is ending. Is it today? I think it's ending today. So let's see what happens. But for me, it will be surprising to hear that the 400 and something people kidnapped by Boko Haram in Borno are back. It'll be very surprising to hear that. So we'll see how it plays out. If government is going to honor their request, which I don't know exactly what their request is. If I'm going by some papers I read, it's about 5 billion, naira, or is it $3.2 million or whatever it may be that they're asking for. Or the children and the women will be sold out to a different country for sex trafficking and whatever you may call it. That's what it is. That's how they raise money. They sell human beings. Go to Libya, you see them. They price people, sell them $600, $1,000. They sell you off. That's how they raise money to fund their operations. And that's so sad, to hear. So we are pleading with the government to do the needful, do what they can to rescue those people that were taken by, Boko Haram, and to improve security in the country. You can't be talking about 2027 to people who are not safe. People just want to be safe in their country. The fact remains that we want our country to work. We can't be in our country. It is foreigners who will be speaking about what is happening in our country. Can government do the needful? Address this security problem. Fix the economy. Try to do things that works so that citizens will start benefiting and their life will start changing. If the government continues the way they are doing, and they win in 2027 till 2031, then Nigeria will continue to exist. That's the truth. Because nobody function like this. Nobody can run his business the way they run Nigeria as a country. So I don't know, but it's quite sad when you see people who are not even supposed to be close to any executive position. They are in the executive position just because they are politicians who run around for the person who won, and then they appoint them by virtue of their role on their election success. So the person, whether he has capacity to do the job or not, they don't care. They just put him there, and that's it. And everybody suffers. So I just hope that things will start changing for the better. But I don't know what anything good that's going to come out from this administration between now and 2027. I'm not seeing anything that will change. We will continue like this in 2027 election, which they may, in one way or the other, find their way to maneuver and see return power by 2027. But it's up to Nigerians anyway. It's up to all of us to decide what happens after that. So I don't know what your thought is. I don't know what you think about this whole thing. If you think that the way our security architecture is, or the way security is, skyrocketing on a daily basis, if you think that's the way to go, well, I don't know. Put it in the comment section. But for me, I think a lot need to change so that the citizens can breathe. So guys, I'm going to let it slide there. If you are new to my channel, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel and put on your notification bell so that when my next new video drop, you'll be among those that will be notified. Don't forget to put your comment in the comment section. I will continue to debate and talk more on what is going on in our country. I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. I'm signing out. See ya.